Today, the Talarico campaign is filing a legal motion to unseal 2 depositions Ken Paxton gave in 2019 and 2022.
Okay, everybody, I've got a bold statement for you. Some politicians are corrupt. I know, but there is this one guy who is so corrupt, even his own party admits it. And that is our good old friend, Ken Paxton, who is now scared shitless after the Talarico camp has announced major plans to legally go after Paxton and release previously sealed documents that may further prove he is more morally bankrupt than we could have ever imagined.
Democratic Senate candidate James Talarico's effort to flip a Texas Senate seat blue relies in no small part on highlighting his Republican opponent Ken Paxton's lengthy list of scandals. Now he's going to court to get even more information. Today, the Talarico campaign is filing a legal motion to unseal 2 depositions Ken Paxton gave in 2019 and 2022. A source tells MS Now the campaign has reason to believe Paxton admitted to crimes in one of those depositions related to, but separate from, the securities fraud charges he faced years ago.
Isn't that absurd? A different set of crimes now for Ken Paxton, beyond the
source didn't
crimes.
Provide additional details, and MS Now has no information to back that claim up. The charges against Paxton were dropped, and he has always maintained his innocence. I want to bring MS Now Capitol Hill reporter Kevin Fry, who brought us that reporting, along with Republican strategist and MS Now political analyst Matthew Bartlett. Thank you both. Kevin, I have covered the Texas Senate race, and what I have heard over and over is that they were excited, the Talarico campaign, at getting the chance to go against Paxton because
no shit. John Cornyn was the better option, and yet Republicans, because they're so diehard culty MAGA loyalists, were like, we'll go with Ken Paxton because he's the one that has the Trump endorsement, even though Ken Paxton is a terrible candidate. Holy crap. It is unbelievable. And we're just seeing it here. This is another example.
Felt like the corruption angle was going to be their best angle. This is clearly the next iteration of that plan. What else do you know?
Yeah, I mean, certainly this is kind of like this week's version of how do we go after him on this corruption piece. They have, of course, gone after him on the impeachment trial. They have gone after him under that fraud case, as you mentioned. When it comes to this situation, what we know is that, and I should say, this case that these depositions were given in is incredibly convoluted. If you read through it, it's hard to even describe in a few sentences. But nonetheless, and perhaps the most important part here is that he gave depositions in 2019 and 2022, and it's one of these rare instances where Paxton actually sat down and spoke under oath. And there was a Wall Street Journal report.
Yeah, he never wants to speak under oath. Because if he actually speaks under oath, then he'll actually have to reveal all the crimes that he's committed, because he is a terrible, corrupt, shitty politician who is unabashedly not the right pick for Texas.
From earlier this year, that during the 2019 deposition, Paxton came close to or outright admitted that he essentially violated attorney-client privilege. Now, the Paxton campaign has dismissed that report and pushed back on that assertion from the Wall Street Journal. Nonetheless, this gives Talarico's team, argues, grounds to try to get these 2 transcripts released. Here's part of what they say in that filing: that existing public reporting suggests that Paxton's testimony raises substantial ethical questions. Texans have the right to know what Paxton said under oath in these proceedings and see the whole story before they go to the polls in November. Now,
I think that's fair, right? Like, even if there is, whatever is here, Paxton potentially admitted to a crime, right, in these documents. We don't know for sure. We don't know for sure. That's why they need to be released. That's why they need to be released. And the people of Texas should know the whole story behind who they potentially could have as their next senator.
I've reached out to the Paxton team and specifically asked, would he be open to releasing these depositions? And did he, as that source claims, admit to crimes in that the 2022?
Yeah, they did not respond to that comment. But I think this is a broader issue here for the Paxton camp, right? Because they have been scandal-ridden from day one, and so they're trying to make these scandals out of Talarico, low-T Talarico. Oh, he's not a real Christian. He hates Jesus, when the guy literally can't stop talking at churches, right? And it shows in the polling, right? This is Texas we're talking about here, okay? This is Texas, and Talarico is doing a great job at numbers here, but he is really focusing in on this corruption angle, and here's a new ad that he just released that is absolutely dynamite and really does showcase just how shitty of a candidate Ken Paxton really is, from James Talarico.
He's the most corrupt politician in Texas, Ken Paxton. His own staff reported him to the FBI for abusing his office. His own party impeached him for bribery and abuse of power, and while earning a taxpayer-funded salary, Paxton increased his net worth by up to $27 million.
How's that happen? When your salary for, that is $100,000, $200,000. How do you make $27 million? It's interesting.
And bought 15 properties. 15. Damn. Politicians are supposed to use their office to help people. Ken Paxton used his to make a fortune.
Yeah.
He's the most
dynamite ad. So good from James Talarico. And as I was saying earlier, polling, right? Ken Paxton, clearly, I mean, it's easy to make an ad out of him being corrupt because he is, right? James Talarico, Adam Carlson right here says he has been ahead of the 8 out of the last 10 publicly released polls, with Talarico 2.3 percentage points up. Now, of course, we know from polling from Michigan, from Wisconsin, it's not always accurate, right? But Texas polling, for the most part, has been pretty rough estimates correct for a while now. Of course, Texas does lean more red, as we all know. However, this is a much stronger position than Beto ever had in 2018, and people were screaming and shouting then about it, right? But this is a tough task for Democrats, right? So that final 3% is going to be a push, right? However, Paxton is generationally bad, lazy, he doesn't fundraise much, he's not getting money, they cannot afford to lose this race, and yet they are pumping a ton of time and energy into this race. Another poll coming out saying Talarico is 8 points ahead. If you look at the district by district basis, look at these numbers. Texas 15 was Trump plus 18, and now it has Talarico up by 8. Texas 28 was Trump plus 11. Talarico's up by 10. This Texas 34, Trump up by 11. Talarico up by 11, right? People actually want to see change in these races. There is going to be Trump Talarico voters in Texas. There is no doubt about that in my mind, okay? And just across the board, politicians that are progressive, like Talarico, like Mamdani, like AOC, progressive politicians are just more popular because people can smell bullshit, right? And centrist corporate Democrat liberals are not cutting it anymore. So let's just take a quick look here just about how popular progressives actually are right now.
Okay, net favorability rating among Dems nationally. Look who's at the top of the list. It's Aram Mamdani, plus 54 points. Better than AOC at plus 47. Better than Hakeem Jeffries at plus 27. Chuck Schumer has real popularity problems even among Democrats. He was only at plus 10.
Yeah, plus 10 among Democrats, dude.
Among Democrats, Aram Mamdani is arguably the most popular modern-day politician who's actually currently in elected office.
True. That is true. Mamdani is the most popular politician who is in office right now in the country, right? He is more popular than Bernie, more popular than AOC. I think the only politician figure in America that's more popular than Mamdani is Obama, right? And that's it. So this is absolutely nuts. And the reason that progressives are so popular right now is they're able to speak to the concerns that people have, unlike a Jeffries or a Schumer, right? People like Mamdani, AOC, and including James Talarico are so popular because they speak to people and can understand their concerns. Like, let's take a look really quick at this moment of James Talarico actually speaking about an Amazon worker that passed away, and you can feel and understand the emotion here.
An Amazon worker died in one of Amazon's warehouses. And as he lay dying, management told the other workers, turn around, don't look, get back to work. Get back to work. That was a human being. That was a child of God. That was our sibling. Sacrificed on the altar of corporate greed.
I think that's just such a bar. Sacrificed on the altar of corporate greed, because it's so true, right? And he's speaking to the people who understand this feeling, who work in Amazon houses, who work in Walmart and Target and all these large corporations that just don't give a shit about the people. Whereas these politicians, progressive politicians, actually have been showing that they kind of do. And James Talarico is not the only amazing thing coming out of Texas today. This news about Paxton, also today announced by a federal judge. The Texas ban on drag shows is unconstitutional and violates the First Amendment, citing the solution is relatively simple. Just don't go to the shows. And I just absolutely love to see that. So this is just some light news coming out of Texas, some fun news that I thought we should end the video on. But I think that's going to do it for me. If you like what you saw in this video, be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to US Democratic Socialists. We do progressive news pretty much every single day. So be sure to subscribe, click the bell so you get notified, and have a great day. I'm Iago Lashua. Goodbye.